The following episode of the Maui Chamber of Commerce's Business Matters radio show was originally broadcast on December 14th, 2021.
Aloha and welcome to the Maui Chamber of Commerce's Business Matters radio show, sponsored by Mokulele Airlines. I'm your host, Pamela Tumpop, president of the Maui Chamber of Commerce, and today we've got many great issues to discuss. We're going to talk about the Hawaii State Employee Retirement System, Maui's infrastructure needs, and affordable units for teachers. We're going to discuss the recent storm, help available, and lessons learned, and the Pukalani Christmas Fair and electric golf cart parade. And we're going to speak to a vendor who participated in the 8th annual Hawaiian Airlines Made in Maui County Festival about her company and jewelry products. But first, I'd like to welcome Hawaii State Representative Sylvia Luke, who is chair of the House Finance Committee. Representative Luke represents the 25th House District, which is Makiki, Punch Bowl, Nuuanu, Dowsett Highlands, Pacific Heights, and Pauoa, and is serving her 10th term. She currently chairs the House Finance Committee, but has served on many other committees, most notably as the Vice Speaker of the House, Chair of the House Committee on Judiciary, and Vice Chair of the House Committee on Economic Development and Business Concerns. Good morning, Representative Luke, which I call her Sylvia. Good morning,
Sylvia.
Please
call me Sylvia. Good morning, Pam, and aloha.
Aloha. So great to have you on the show. And I also wanted to note, in addition to your prestigious position in the House, chairing the Finance Committee, which is so important to us all, I also understand you are going to run for Lieutenant Governor.
Yes, and I was just on Maui enjoying your Made in Maui festival. That was terrific.
We were so glad to see you there. I know the vendors really appreciated having you on Maui, and I know you were greeting people and bought many things like chili oil.
The chili oil was so delicious.
Oh, we really appreciated having you there. Thank you so much for joining us. So I know that you've been, one of the things that the Chamber's advocated for, and it's about a sustainability issue for us, and it's the Hawaii State Employee Retirement System. And again, we know that, the system as it was in the past, we of course want to protect those who are invested in the system, but we also recognize it's unsustainable for future generations. I know you've been making changes on that and understanding the debt that kind of leaves for future generations. Can you talk about some of those changes that have already occurred and what you're looking at moving forward?
That's a really important question, and thanks for asking about that. Hawaii's unfunded liability, a lot of people hear about unfunded liability. What unfunded liability is, it's due to two things. It's the retirement benefit payments for state employees, retired state employees, and the second part is health benefits for active and retired employees. The most recent valuation of unfunded liability is for ERS, which is the retirement benefits. It's about $14 billion, which is a huge amount. And for the health benefits, it's about $8.9 billion. I do have good news. Because of the changes, I'm going to take the pension benefits first. Because of the changes that the state legislature has made since 2011-ish, and since I became finance chair, we created a tier system which would increase annual payments for both the employer and the employees, and we invested in aggressive investment offices and making sure that the ERS board understand that, we need to take care of these issues. And so because of some of these aggressive changes, we have cut down the unfunded full payment. So it's actually, we will be paid off the unfunded liability in 30 years based on the actuary, as opposed to 65 years.
Wow.
So just by making some few changes in the past few years, we were able to shorten it by half, which is crazy. So
Yes.
one of the things that I think you're concerned about, and a lot of our folks are concerned about, is making sure that our future generation does not inherit many of the choices and debts that we have. So that's significant. The second thing is that under health benefits, one of the first things that I did, along with now current Governor David Ige, one of the first things that we passed was to reform the health benefit system. So before, what had happened is we just pay as we go. Whatever bill we get, say that you get your bill for premium payments, we pay it. And we never really prepaid what it would cost. So as you can imagine, that just paying the current bill, it's like paying just the interest on your mortgage. Instead of just doing that, we thought, okay, we better prepay some of these benefits. And because of those implementation, what it was before, we potentially had about $13 billion in unfunded liability. And by making prepayment of about $400 million additional amount every year, we cut that by $4 billion. This is significant only because if we had not done this by certain year, our health benefit costs would have been close to $2 billion a year. And, the state just does not have that type of resources. And, we don't want to burden the taxpayers in that way. So making these significant changes have significantly reduced the future generation. And we will continue to work on this to make sure that our future generation doesn't inherit a lot of these debts.
It's really important. And one of the reasons it's such an important issue for the business community is it would be against the law for a business to operate that way. And so it's nice to see. I know you've been a huge champion of this, and here locally in Maui County, Gladys Baisa, former councilwoman, was a huge champion of this and trying to iron it out. I mean, there was a time when the neighbor island contributions to the system weren't recognized for each island. Sort of everybody was kind of paying in, but, that has all gotten worked out as well. So there's been such great progress. But with your leadership and with Governor Ige, looking at proactive ways to bring this down, I just commend you. What a great job well done, because this has existed for such a long period of time.
Yeah, thank you. And, this is something that usually elected officials will not tout, right? Because it's just taking care of the basic needs that we need to take care of, but they can't go out and say, hey, you know what, I built this or I built something, because it's not really seen. So I commend you and the business community for recognizing this as an issue, and I think we're all always cognizant that, we don't want to burden our children or our grandchildren with our current debt.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for your great work on that, and we deeply appreciate it. It's been, as long as I've been at the Chamber, which is now 15 years, it's been on our agenda every year, and we're so excited with the movement that's been made. And, the other thing is, I know you've also been making strides and really looking at the unique infrastructure needs of each island. And so I wanted to give you a moment. I know you were on Maui, and we were so thrilled to see you at the Made in Maui County Festival. Could you talk about some of the needs that you're looking at, Maui's infrastructure needs, that have been shared with you, and some of the fixes that you're looking at this legislative session?
Right. One, have you guys been to King Kekalike auditorium? It's fabulous. I just went to a band concert there, and it's just fabulous. And I always think, okay, when I bring the finance committee out to see the infrastructure needs and, at the same time show off some of the great things on Maui, I always think, okay, you know what, maybe I better not show the Oahu folks or other neighbor island folks this beautiful King Kekalike auditorium, because everybody's going to want it.
Exactly.
But let me just give kudos to all the Maui legislators, because I just did the quick math last night, and I took a look at, since I became finance chair, how much infrastructure monies have gone to Maui. And Maui represent about 13% of the state population. So you would think, for fairness, about 13% of the capital project or the amount for capital amount would go to Maui. That's not true. When I did the math, close to 20%
Wow.
of our capital project went to Maui. And I think it's really kudos to your legislators. And so I want to give a shout out to Kyle Yamashita, who is our CIP chair, and on the Senate side, Gil Algaran, who is the CIP, basically the CIP person for the Senate. But it's every legislator, they come and they advocate for their schools and the airports and all the things that they need. Like Justin does a really good job advocating for Maui. I know we're still struggling with Kihei High School and some of those issues, but imagine, we could not build Kihei High School, and that was not even on the radar for 20 years, and now they're building it. And so just to see those things happening, it's a huge accomplishment, and it's kudos to the Maui, not just the Maui legislators, but the advocates and, people who come out and tell us the stories of some of the needs that you have. So I always say, hey, we always have those, let's thank the teacher, let's thank a legislator, and go out. If you see Kyle on the street, if you see, Gil, if you see Lynn, Troy, Justin, anybody else, just say, hey, you know what, Sylvia said that, you were instrumental in bringing more of the state share to Maui, probably at the detriment of other islands, but we won't mention that. But no, it's huge.
Well, it is. When you look at, I appreciate you doing the math because it puts it in perspective. Everybody always wants more, and we look at our needs and we say, okay, we need more. But, to know that we are not only getting our fair share, that we're getting more than our fair share, and why. That's really helpful to understand.
Yeah, and just for math, just in the last 10 years, it's over $800 million of general obligation bond, and it's $3 billion of all financing, which includes highway funds, federal funds, and everything else. So that is tremendous. That $3 billion went into Maui's economy in the last 10 years. We will continue to look at some of the school needs, some of the airport needs. Your airport is fabulous. I'm so jealous that you had some of the facility improvements before any other islands. And Maui has been the starting point of many of our issues, which segues into our next topic, which is affordable housing. And I wanted to just chat about that very quickly. During the pandemic, 2020, everything was shut down, economy was shut down. But one of the things the legislature did was we passed what's known as a school facilities authority. What that bill will do is we will take a look at unused school lands or unused state lands and build lots and lots of teacher housing. As you know, on Maui, affordable housing is a big issue, and it's really workforce housing. And if we can at least take care of teacher housing as a start and then move on to health care or other workforce housing, I think we're gaining grounds in affordable housing. The significant thing about teacher housing is it's not only helping housing needs, but it will help young teachers and new teachers supplement their income if we can provide low rent, if we can provide something affordable, something close to where they teach. So it's a great concept where I'm very excited, and I'm very excited that Maui actually, it will be the first pilot. We're already looking at doing something in Lahaina, and that will be the pilot that we will take statewide. So I'm very excited about that, and for any project to succeed, we have to bird dog it all along the way. But this is something that we want to succeed, and we want to build lots and lots of teacher housing all over the state.
Well, I am so excited to hear about this because, one of the things that we've been having trouble with, and across the nation as well, and especially COVID has exacerbated this, is teacher retention. But we've had challenges with that for a while. And, if we could, and given our high cost of housing and the lack of affordable housing and rentals, to have specifically set aside teacher housing projects that I think it will encourage more teachers to stay in the system and encourage new people to come in and find a way to make it on Maui, where when they even consider positions on Maui, sometimes it just doesn't pencil out.
Correct. And, a lot of times the first few years of a teacher's career is the most difficult. And if we provide teacher housing, then it's an area where they could go to their peers, they could talk about the day, they could share stories, and, we're hoping that we can help them go through some of their tougher years in the first few years. And we're very excited about this possibility. And I'm glad that we are starting in that project. The first project will be in Maui.
Well, we really appreciate that. That's so exciting to hear. And I know that, you've been here and talking to people and looking at all of our infrastructure needs. I know water was something else that you were looking at and understanding, the water issues, that there's water issues across the state. What are some of the things that you're looking at on that front?
Yeah, so water is so vital, and one of the things that the state funded was the $20 million for Central Maui wastewater treatment plant, and that's vital as well. But I think water will continue to be a big issue, not just on Maui, but all the islands. As you probably heard, on Oahu, we're having challenging issues with Red Hill and the fact that there's contamination in our water system. But water is vital, and whether it's on Oahu, Kauai also has water issues as well. I think we need to work really closely on how we can get water to our residents. And water issue has been a big issue on Maui, and I think we need to share, and it's a shared responsibility, and we need to get water out to everyone, and so that will continue to be an issue.
Well, we appreciate your great work on this and so many of the other issues that you've been doing. And we've had, I just want to say that we've, at the Maui Chamber of Commerce, with you as the finance chair, you've always had an open door. We've always been able to talk to you and share our issues. We've really appreciated your fiscal responsibility and really looking at, as you point out, tough issues that many times don't get aired in the public. People don't really understand things like necessarily the employee retirement system. A lot of people, it's a huge debt that we have, and so it's tough to solve. So sometimes people don't want to talk about that and alert the public to that, but to be upfront about these issues and to talk about how we're doing it, because when more people understand it, then we can get better ideas put forward. And you've really done a stellar job working on that and really all the issues. And what's exciting to know that is, as finance chair, you see it all. When it comes, every project that needs money, and to move things forward, every project needs money. You really get to see the breadth of all the projects statewide and have such extensive experience because that role requires it, and you really carefully examine things. And I know you can't fund it all, and sometimes people are upset that, their project didn't get funded. But I do want to say from our perspective, we've watched the thoughtful consideration of every single project and deeply appreciate your service.
No, I appreciate it. And a lot of times, I wish we had all the money in the world to fund a lot of these projects and start many of the programs. But, I think we are stewards of taxpayers' hard-earned money, and we have to be mindful of what are some of the priorities, what has to be funded now, what can wait, and sometimes it's a very difficult decision. So I do appreciate you folks recognizing that, and I want to give huge recognition to you, Pam. You have a tough job because you have to balance. Okay, you understand what are some of the state's needs, but you have to advocate for the business needs, and we really need that balance. And we continue to look forward to working with you and the business community and the people of Maui to continue to improve not just Maui, but for the benefit of the state as we go into basically a recovery years. We need to be mindful of, okay, what are some of the things that we need to push aggressively because this is the time to do it, and what are some of the things that we need to re-examine. So I think we're in a very vital time right now.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Representative Luke. Sylvia Luke has been joining us this morning. If you're just turning in, thank you so much for sharing with us this morning. We appreciate your time. I want to say happy holidays in case I don't get to see you before then, but we're looking forward to seeing you definitely in the new year at the legislative session.
Happy holidays. Thank you for letting me join you.
Oh, it's our pleasure.
Again.
We'll have you on again soon.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you. Aloha. All right, if you're just tuning in, this is Business Matters, brought to you by our sponsor, Mokulele Airlines. Mokulele Airlines operates the largest commuter airline hub in the country, right here in Kahului. Fly Mokulele from Kahului to Molokai, Lanai, Hana, Waimea, Kona, and now Hilo. Mokulele also operates the only flights between Kapalua and Honolulu. There is never a middle seat on Mokulele, and every seat has a window and aisle. Visit mokuleleairlines.com and take your next flight from the newly renovated Mokulele Terminal. And we're back with a person you all know and love. We have Council Member Yukilei Sugimura, who holds the County Council seat for the Upcountry Residency area. She is the chair of the Infrastructure and Transportation Committee. And this morning we're going to talk about the storm emergency that happened on December 5th. Aloha and good morning, Yuki. How are you this morning?
Happy holidays, Pam. Thank you very much for allowing me to be part of this. I was listening to your previous interview, so thank you.
Well, thank you. And I know that you have been listening to the show because I get some texts periodically, and I appreciate it that you've been listening in on the issues. And happy holidays. It's such a gorgeous time, a beautiful day today. Yes. I know you've been really watching. Of course, Upcountry was hard hit, as was many areas of the island. But I know you really have been looking at what's occurred Upcountry with the storm damage. Tell us a little bit about what you've been finding. And I know, that you know more about what kind of damage has been caused. So share with us what you're seeing and tell us about how we can help or what's available to help.
So thank you for allowing me to share this. I know that people have been hearing about this, through the media, and one of the things that happened was Maui News put my cell number in their article when they were talking about the storm. So I've been having residents call me, asking me, different questions, and I've been trying to, mitigate, their questions within the county.
Yes.
And I got to do a site visit at a home that was below, right in my neighborhood down the street, Lower Kula Road, and the debris in the gulch got diverted water, a powerful force of water. You know how Mother Nature wins, I always say.
Right.
And just this mud damage that invaded their home. It was amazing and devastating, and of course, they can't live there. So, but I got to go there, and I saw them, with their equipment, and all the neighbors came and helped them, which was pretty amazing. And it really is aloha spirit, right? In time of need, the people who show up and help you. And I think what the family said was somebody who came with their heavy equipment they had just met and was there helping them. I know it was, heartwarming, but it was also very sad, to see the family with a young child not being able to live in their home, because of it. It was pretty bad. I think they had to, take away whatever flooring they had, and washer dryer was, inoperable. The bathrooms. I mean, it was just sad.
Do they have a place to go? Are they okay?
They do. Yeah, so they had family to, go to. So that's
Okay.
good. But still, they're home
Right.
with all their,
Yes,
valued
absolutely.
possessions are gone. But throughout, last week when the storm hit, I was getting phone calls from people who didn't have water or didn't have electricity or had food. They had to throw it away.
Yeah.
And, was somebody going to help them with the loss of that? So Maui Electric took that call. I was pretty impressed. You can report damages to Maui Electric, where they were sending out, ongoing press releases about, how fast they were getting the electricity situation repaired, as well as with the county for water service and assistance and, cleaning debris from the roads. And it's just been amazing, to watch the community get into gear as they try to help each other and, solve problems, So I'm very grateful, to be a part of this. And whatever way I could, I tried to assist, residents that got me or called me to, share with me their frustrations, really. By the time they call me, they're dealing without, and it's really hard. Pam, and I always say that the thing that I saw is how, how lucky we are that we usually have utilities on demand. You just flick a switch,
Right.
you turn the faucet on, and everything, we're not used to being without.
Right.
But this experience for me and my family was very good because it just made me appreciate the things that we take for granted.
We forget that many other countries don't have all these things.
Yeah,
And,
really.
we were, actually, I was laughing because we teach a class at the chamber around hurricane season about how to do a hurricane preparedness kit. And I know my mom actually took the class and participated, and apparently that she got quoted in the paper and said, well, I went to my hurricane preparedness kit. And we said, oh, glad to, because that was kind of, unfortunately, it was interesting to me that as we knew the storm was coming, we didn't seem to recognize the level that sort of equated to getting ready for a hurricane. And many people were surprised by the amount of the wind. And of course, I think you've been talking about, too, some of the lessons learned, right? We've heard stories where, roadway drainages were just blocked and maybe blocked by simple things that could have been cleared. Even on our street, I know some of our neighbors just kind of periodically clean the drain that they just do on a regular basis. And so on our street, we didn't have that issue. But to know, again, like the gulch, and as the gulches get filled up with trash and debris, a storm like this gives us great lessons. Not that we don't, we always want to be proactive and not reacting to terrible damage. And, our heart goes out to that family and all the families affected in South Maui, and we've even seen some challenges with boats and Lahaina and things, to everybody who's affected. But it's nice to know that there's systems in place, and it's nice to say, okay, well, this terrible thing happened, but what lessons do we need to learn so that proactively we're keeping up with some of the issues that we can do? Or fix along the way so that, again, as we prepare for hurricane season or other disasters, we're ready. I know that also the county has a site where you can report damage as well.
Yes.
And
yes, so please do, it's mauicounty.gov, and it's storm damage, and you report it. Absolutely. And that's one. And also, Pam, what I found very useful through this is, of course, Maui Emergency Management Agency, which is MEMA. Herman Andaya is the director of that and has been working, through every single storm or every single emergency. But their number is 270-7285, and you can call there, and someone will get back to you, as their staff has been working really hard. But another number, which I think is easy to remember, is called 211.
Yes.
It is a number that was set up during the pandemic when people had a lot of questions about what to do, and they're maintaining that number. And if you listen, I called just to see what it was, but they have a lot of, different services and emergencies that they handle. But if you keep on listening, they'll talk about the particular storm, and if you're having a problem with the storm, and a person will answer and direct you to, different resources. So it's a very useful number to, just easy to remember, 211.
That's right. Like your emergency number, 911, only
Yeah.
this is 211, your local community situational
Yeah.
issues. Yeah, that's really important to share. And
Yeah,
I didn't
and then
know.
also-
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, I didn't realize that you were on the front lines in that way, but knowing you, I totally can see you immediately jumping in, but really appreciate that you were on the front lines in that way. I mean, that's who you are, and always something that you're engaged in to do whatever you can and serve. But I didn't realize that you were getting so many calls and directly involved in helping to resolve so many issues.
Yeah, I was trying to, just trying to really just to refer people and get, the departments, to talk to the residents with different questions that they had. And of course, it's very anxious times, right? Because people are, feel like, well, yeah, they have been, they're in danger of some sort. So
Yeah.
It's nice to, be able to talk to them and try to help them. I think they were, and I really want to commend the Department of Water Supply. There was a Saturday article, Jeff Pearson was quoted and talking about their workers, but I also heard it from the community where community members who were actually watching the department with all their trucks, working, and they were telling me that the workers were hauling pipe into the, into the area to restore
Right.
water, because they couldn't, because of the storm, and they couldn't get a helicopter there, just because of circumstances. So the Department of Public Works workers were walking it in, So
Yeah.
as I got phone calls of people being very frustrated, like, how come I don't have water? How come nobody's doing anything? I just wanted people to know that the water department were really working as fast as they could and trying to really solve the problem. And they restored water, I think after like 4 days is what Jeff Pearson, the water director, said in the Maui News article. And they worked hard. It kind of gradually went on at different places.
Right.
And but I think just like he said, there were 2,000 water meters that were impacted, and about 4,000 to 5,000 customers within that 4-day period with Kula and Kihei residents, and that the water damage were actually in 4 gulches. And if you see what has come down from the gulches, there are residents who live close enough to the gulches that are throwing things in there, right? 'Cause
Yes.
it looks like a big
Big
empty
debris.
landfill, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and when Mother Nature starts raining like that, everything goes downhill. One person called me and they lost 4 cars.
Wow.
So can you imagine a truck? Because it was a
Going
business.
down. Yeah.
Yeah, not down the gulch, but it moved through the force of water.
Yes.
I think one of their vehicles they didn't know where it was by the time I talked to them. So hopefully, they've gotten assistance, that they needed. But Governor Ike signed again, extended the emergency proclamation for this. So it was signed last week Friday, and it goes all the way through February 8th of next year, so that we can help our people. The mayor has in our upcoming budget, which is this as a council meeting, request for $3 million to help with this emergency relief for roads and wastewater, whatever may need help, and the water department for the residents. So the branches of government are acting and trying to help.
Well,
I'm glad to see that.
We sure appreciate everybody working together. I mean, it was one of those things that just, we knew there was going to, be a storm, and we knew there was going to be heavy rains, but we just, most people I talked to were sort of really cut off by the longevity of it and the amount of water and again, and a lot of people have shared with me, and I appreciate that you're bringing it up, that there's been some dumping in our gulches, and sometimes people forget or think, well, what will this hurt? Nobody's even going to know this is down there. And it does. So, we want to make sure that dumping is going to the right places. We want to get stuff to the landfill where it's actually managed. The gulches are not that place to do that. But
Exactly.
there were so many things happening, and I really appreciate the shout out to the water department and to Miko, because we were even hearing that again, they were in many areas, and again it was those really tricky areas like the gulches where they needed to also work in tandem. There was power issues and water issues, and not only are they each trying to restore their own systems, but they had to kind of work around and coordinate with each other. And I love, I want to make sure people really understand, as you point out, some of the normal systems that would have aided, like the helicopters and being able to get heavy equipment in other ways, just wasn't possible with the weather still going on.
Yeah. And, now that most of us have gotten back our water and electricity, who's working really hard is the Department of Public Works, right, on all the roads and
right.
get rid of the debris. And it is a continuous process. And, of course, Pam, just because of my Access Deer Task Force, there was even deer that washed down to Wailea. Of course, carcasses, but still,
awful.
it's amazing, the force of nature.
That's right. It is. Well, on a positive note, we've got about a minute or two. Do you want to share about the Pukalani Christmas Fair and Electric Golf Cart Parade that you sponsored?
Oh, that was so fun, right? So thank God for Pukalani Community Association, Donna Clayton, our president, who tried to put this on last year, but realized she couldn't because of COVID, so she canceled. And this year, she kind of gently, watched COVID and got an approval to have it. And I will tell you, I think there were 11 golf carts and food booth. There was a lunch truck, Al's Barbecue, which used to be at First Friday, so I was so happy seeing him. And there were a lot of people from the community who came with their chairs and their children. And I think people were just happy to be outside and able to, to have an event because, all the events have been canceled during COVID. So, but really fun. Of course, Santa Claus was there, and the golf carts got to go back and forth like 3 times, so that the audience could see, and passing out candy cane. And it was to me the start of the holiday, truly. And I'm grateful that the Pukalani Community Association, did it. As you know, it was supposed to be the first week in December, and it got moved because of the storm, and to this past weekend, and it happened. It was super fun. KITV asked for footage, asked for pictures of the event, so I hope that got shown. And I think Donna had a videographer who took pictures, which would have been way better than mine. So hopefully that all happened.
I do know they have video, and I do know that they've got excellent photography, and I heard everything was submitted to KITV. I don't know if it aired. I hadn't heard if it aired or not. But
I hadn't heard if it aired. But and of course KITV did tell me that it depends on what else is happening. So it would take precedence over an emergency. Would take precedence over something like this, but. It was fabulous. It was just fabulous. It was fun, and people were smiling. After the storm, it was just perfect. Spirits and the kids. When you see the children, they're so happy.
Yeah,
that's really why that happens. To gather is for the kids, and of course we have to say shout out to Zeke Kalua, who was there with his sound system. And just does great work too. So I just want to thank everybody who made this happen.
And Santa. And a big shout out to our Santa. We can't, we'll just leave it at Santa.
Yeah.
He knows who he is.
Yeah.
But he made it very joyful for all the children too.
And I think Joyce and Victorina was there, and she kind of helped open. Welcome, and that was nice also. Yeah.
Aww.
So.
I was
But,
sorry
you know,
I
I
couldn't
hope-
make it, but I heard it was a spectacular event.
Yeah, it really was. I'm very, very grateful. So,
Aw.
Pam, one day I hope I know we're running out of time, but I hope one day if I can come back and talk to you about the Access to Your Task Force.
Absolutely.
And the different things that are going on with it, and the recommendations that they have come up with, for the community is so exciting. So I really would like to come back and talk about it for a composting facility for Maui I think we'll have to do a pilot program, and fencing and different things that are happening because of the devastation of the deer. So
Yes.
I had to throw that in. The task force is amazing with the kind of recommendations they're coming out with.
Yes, and thank you for inviting me to be on. I really appreciate it. We will.
Yeah.
In fact, we'll get you on really soon because I know there's some important timing with that.
Yeah, thank you.
you're-
There really is.
Yeah, our pleasure. Well, we've loved having you on, Yuki. Thank you so much for your tremendous service.
Thank you very much. And I will call you today. I want to talk to you about housing and different things.
Awesome.
So,
Good. I'll be in
Okay.
meetings for a little bit this morning, but why don't we try and connect around 11?
okay.
Perfect.
Okay. You call me when you're free.
Okay,
Thank you.
great. Awesome. Thanks so much. Well, I just want to do a quick thing for those, just to remind you of a couple numbers, as Councilmember Yukilei Sugimura mentioned. You can report storm damage. You can go on the Maui County website, and if you look at the storm, there is a way to click on a link and report some storm damage there. You can also call the Maui Emergency, MEMA, the Maui Emergency Management Association, and it's 270-7285. 211 is a great number to just always know when we have storms or community issues, emergency type issues. Call 211. They can also help with some other things as well. And, again, we want to thank everybody who came together. And, it was so many tough things going on at once, but just really want to thank the community and all those who were helping each other and all the amazing MECO teams and county teams. All across the board, and all of our mayor and the council for their leadership. That's what we do, and that's what we're known for. And God bless the fact that we get to live in this beautiful place here in Maui County, and we're very blessed. And it's nice to know that we can count on our community. On that note, I just wanted to also share that I wasn't able to go to the Pukalani Christmas Fair and Electric Golf Cart Parade because we did and had to reschedule on the 11th, the 8th annual Made in Maui County Festival for the third time. They say third time's a charm, and I said it last week, and I guess my grandmother's right. It was a gorgeous day, albeit really windy, and really, really windy on December 11th. But we, too, want to thank all of the folks who came out this past Saturday to shop local and support our vendors. It was so heartwarming to see, and the vendors had a great day. There were still other activities going on that day, but many people came out and supported local vendors, shop local. I went and spoke to the vendors, each vendor, and talked to them and said, how is it going? And they were all so grateful to the community, grateful that we continued to keep pushing forward to hold the event for them. And they had sales, and it as a small vendor, and when you put so much into all of these kind of big events as you're gearing up, and we knew that they were investing in making products for all of our community to share and enjoy and learn about, and they missed that one-to-one connection. But to have the opportunity to do a live event was so special. They not only had great sales that day, they connected with people, which they really love to do, and shared their stories and about their products. And we're really grateful to Mayor Victorino and Carla Peters and the whole Parks Department because, and the mayor's team, Tyson Miyake as well, everybody was working together to make a live event possible. We're the first one to get to use that field. We were right at the cusp of restrictions opening up. People who came, while it was an outdoor event, masks were appreciated but not required, but people came in their masks and everybody was respectful. We had plenty of room for social distancing. So just want to thank the mayor and his team, want to thank all of those who came out to shop. And deeply want to thank our vendors who hung in there with us. Unfortunately, some things like the storm are outside of our control. But like we always do, we just make it work. So to all who came and visited us, thank you so much for shopping local. We truly appreciate you. And on that note, I get to welcome Melanie Scott, who is the owner of Maui Swan Designs. Melanie was there with us on Saturday. She is a resident of Maui and owner of Maui Swans Design. She also has a bachelor's degree in fine arts with an emphasis in graphic design. And in the last 22 years, she has accumulated 13 awards of recognition internationally through exhibitions and her portfolio reviews. And so she has many experiences in a variety of different art media. So we wanted to have Melanie come on and talk to us today about her business. Aloha and good morning, Melanie. How are you this morning?
Aloha, Pamela. I'm doing so excellent. Thank you for inviting me to talk with you today on the radio. I just feel so honored.
Oh, we're thrilled to have you with us. Thank you. Tell us how you got started with Maui Swan Designs.
Well, I just think, when I got my bachelor's degree in fine arts in 2001, I just was always craving something different. And I'm from Ohio originally, Youngstown, Ohio. It's south of Cleveland. And I wanted to become an art therapist, and I decided to enroll in universities and get my master's in art therapy. So I moved to San Diego, and with the hustle of life over there and working and trying to go to master's school, I ended up dropping out. But that was okay because I became a professional artist, and it was something that I've always dreamed of doing. And I started working as a color correction specialist with various companies, reprinting art. And so I got to talk to a lot of fine artists and just learn from them and how they became successful. And I just held on to all that information for a really long time. So that led me to move to Maui in 2007. And it's really hard to establish yourself here when you don't know anybody. So I just started doing graphics, and I just always craved to do jewelry just for healing. It just seemed like really relaxing and natural, not looking at a screen. So I just started doing it as a hobby about 10 years ago. And so I just, walking down the street, people were like, oh, I've been dying to meet the girl that makes those earrings. And that's pretty much how it all happened, just by having a hobby and doing it. I just do it with my whole heart. I think that's so, and people just really seem to like it, and it's unique, and
it's absolutely stunning. You have beautiful beaded jewelry that just shimmers, and it's very glamorous and eye-catching. But you have beautiful, bright jewelry that I guess the only thing I can really say is that just to look at it just makes you smile. You have some things in beautiful sort of, some in rainbow colors, shades of rainbows and shades of warmth, the golden tones, and just beautiful jewelry that and it moves. It's dynamic jewelry. It moves. So there's movement to it. The earrings and the necklaces, and it just feels good. It feels good on. It feels good to see. I don't know. It's very unique.
Thank you. I guess that's just all I ever wanted, was to help people feel good. That's why I wanted to be an art therapist. And so I just feel really grateful that it makes me feel good to be able to make this stuff, even though it is super tedious. And
yes, it's a lot of beads.
but I love doing it. So it's like, I just think anything is possible when you love what you do. Doesn't matter how difficult the task is, you're still going to get it done. So it does require a lot of balance from me and focus, and I just enjoy doing it so much, and I had no idea that it would get to this level, honestly. I'm just so grateful that so many people appreciate it.
People really do, and you can see it's a labor of love, and I love that it's something, I when you were talking about that for a second, it dawned on me, given the level of detail in it, it could almost be like a meditative process, because it's a lot of, like you said, focus and practice, and something that you really have to work on, because it's, when you see it, and I really want to encourage you to look up Melanie's products, because I know as we're describing it, it's kind of hard to picture, but there are strands of beads that are woven together that hang, and the earrings and the necklace, and they move. When, together it's sort of a very cohesive look, but they're dynamic and they move. But it's the colors and the way she's arranged the beadwork that just gives you this beautiful array of colors that works with all of your different outfits and clothing. And so, she's created something so unique, but you have to kind of see it. Radio doesn't do this jewelry justice, because it's not not your normal jewelry.
Yeah, I use glass beads that are high quality. A lot of the beads that I use are from the Czech Republic and Japanese seed beads, and I try to use as much 14 karat gold filled beads in there, and solid sterling, and I use some rose gold too, and I add some high quality chains to it, and it really does catch the eye. And this type of glass beads, actually, because of their alchemical process of how the glass is made, it has metal in it, like silver and gold, that make the light really reflect and make the colors pop out more. And so they're really delicate yet lightweight too. So
yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah, it's very lightweight. Where can people find you? I know we're running out of time. Let's talk about where people can find you.
I have a website, MauiSwan.com. I also have a Facebook page, Maui Swan Designs, and Instagram page, Maui Swan. I have a Pinterest, Maui Swan Designs, and I have an Etsy shop. Maui Swan Designs is the name of my Etsy shop as well. And on my Etsy, I have about 200 listings of made-to-order products, of like the most common top sellers that I make, so I can just remake them.
Oh, Melanie, thank you so much. That's all the time we have today. If you've been listening, this is Business Matters, brought to you by Mokulele Airlines. I'm Pamela Timpop, president of the Maui Chamber of Commerce, wishing you happy holidays and blessings and best wishes for a beautiful Maui day.